The TIE Fighter comic by Jody Houser just recently finished up its 5th and final issue. As a tie-in story with Alphabet Squadron, no pun intended, it follows the Imperial pilots of Shadow Wing prior to the events of the book. We're specifically following the members of Squadron 5. Most of them are new faces except for Litan Dree, who was introduced in the Han Solo Imperial Cadet comic. He was shown to be a fairly mediocre pilot back then, but he's proven himself over the last 14 years, and I actually thought it was nice to see how far he's come. There are also a handful of cameos from characters in Alphabet Squadron, including Yrica Quell, the main character from the book, and Major Soran Kaiz, who appears throughout Yrica's story. Most notable is the presence of Colonel Neress, also known as Grandmother. She is the villain of Alphabet Squadron, and someone I was very glad to get to know a little better. One of the few complaints I had about the book was that I wish she were a little more present, and that's definitely what I think this comic does best. Shadow Wing is mostly a faceless enemy in Alphabet Squadron. It makes sense, that's kind of the Empire's thing. But one of my favorite parts of that book was when the A-Wing pilot Will Lark attempts to humanize the enemy. He reaches out to them during a reprieve from battle, and it didn't go how I expected, but it's a reminder that there are people in those TIE fighters, and they're not necessarily evil. Jody Houser takes that idea and runs with it, because I came to really enjoy the 5th Squadron of Shadow Wing. Each issue ends with a flashback for an individual character, showing them interacting with their families, showing them deal with personal doubts. It makes them human, and then when some of them die, you really feel it. The actual story is fairly straightforward, and I'm going to get into spoilers now if you haven't read it, but Shadow Wing is attacked by Imperial forces in the final days before the Battle of Endor. It seems that an Imperial admiral didn't think the Empire would last much longer, and he wanted to strike out and go independent, kinda like the warlords from Star Wars Legends. Shadow Wing plays along for a second to gain his trust, but then escape and start a mutiny until the rebels arrive and take out 2 of their pilots. They make it back to their base and discover that one of their killed pilots was actually planning to defect to the Alliance. They take it upon themselves to wipe out a mobile rebel base that she had been in contact with, and they are successful. Almost immediately after landing, they hear word that the Battle of Endor has resulted in the death of the Emperor. From there, we know that Shadow Wing participated in Operation Cinder, which led to Yrica Quell's eventual defection. I liked this comic a lot. I'm more of a Rebel pilot fanboy, but this was still a good read, and the art by Rohei Antonio looked great, especially the dogfighting. I've had people ask if this is required reading for Alphabet Squadron, and it definitely isn't. It'll enhance the experience for sure, but you won't be lost without it. It's a nice companion, and one I think would be great to see continue alongside Alphabet Squadron Parts 2 and 3, seeing what Shadow Wing gets up to after the days of the Battle of Endor. If you've read TIE Fighter, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.